Hi, welcome to this episode of Thai Food. On this one, we're going to do chicken and dumplings. I'm going to do it pretty much primarily in the crock pot here. Already got in the crock pot 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of this garlic cooking oil, olive oil mixture that I use on the stove, 1 tablespoon of each in there, and then I got some sliced garlic. I used 2 cloves of garlic that I sliced up really thin. If you don't have the patience to do that, you can just use the minced garlic, probably a couple tablespoons of that from the store. That'll work perfectly. So I already got that in this, heating up. It's been in there about an hour at this point. I'm going to reset my timer on my crock pot to 4 hours. And what we got here is 2 stalks of celery, 1 small onion, and 2 sticks of carrots. And I just kind of diced them up. This is basically exactly what I put in my chicken gnocchi soup. And I'm doing it pretty much identical to that. The only difference is I'm using half the broth. And it's going to come out a little bit thicker for broth here. So, well, it's not going to be really thicker. It's just going to have less liquid in it. It's going to be more like a stew, so to speak. So I got that right in there like that. Will you go ahead and stir that for me, Shiloh? And basically I'm just pre-cooking the veggies in the crock pot. So we're going to get that stirred up really good. Get it all stirred around. You don't just, as long as it doesn't come out of the crock pot, kiddo, that's all I care about. And then when he's done with that, we'll put the lid back on it. And like I said, I'm kind of mimicking my chicken gnocchi recipe. And I think it's going to have good flavor by doing that. And we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper here. I'm going to sprinkle that in there. Don't sneeze. And some Himalayan sea salt, or just regular salt if you don't have the sea salt. 1/4 teaspoon of that, or sorry, 1/8 of a teaspoon of that. I did a 1/4 teaspoon of the pepper. 1/8 teaspoon of the salt, and that's going to help pull the moisture out of the veggies a little bit here. And I don't want to add too much salt to that because I'm going to use bouillon cubes, and they're high sodium, so you know, you don't want to put too much salt in there, but you want enough to help draw some of that moisture out. Get it mixed up really good, and we'll put the lid back on, Shiloh. Okay. And we're going to let that kind of, you know, heat up and cook down. And while that's doing that, I'm going to reuse the same bowl here. And I went ahead and pre-cooked my chicken because that's how I roll. I grilled this chicken, and all I did was I rubbed it with some of my black gold mixture. I've said before, if you don't have that, just substitute Worcestershire sauce for now until I can get the black gold on the market. But I've got 6 chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, and I put my chicken seasoning on them. That was the second video I put up on YouTube, was my chicken seasoning or poultry seasoning. Yep, that's good. Here, just tap this off like so. Try to keep all the veggies in there. Go ahead and put the lid on it. And we're just going to let that cook down itself and try to soften those vegetables. So, second video I put on was my chicken seasoning or poultry seasoning. And I'm going to take and cube up these chicken thighs really quick. I just, you know, season them and I grilled them. Now, if you don't want to do all that work, you can cube them up and give them a quick saute in a frying pan with whatever seasonings you want on them. But this grilling them like this adds a whole lot of flavor to this. And it really comes out nice. I found that out with the chicken gnocchi soup when I first made it and I grilled the chicken for it. It adds such a good flavor to it. And I did the same thing when I made my chicken gnocchi soup for YouTube. You know, I made it exactly the way I made it the first time I ever made it. And let me tell you, it was delicious. If you haven't tried that recipe, I highly recommend it. Go back in the archives and dig it up. It's there. So we're just going to, you know, cube this up so that you can get a bite of it. How's that looking, kiddo? It's going to be a little bit slower of a method for cooking your vegetables. If you want to do this a little quicker than that, then I would recommend doing it in a saute pan. Or if you're going to do it on the stove, do it in a pot. Then you can always transfer it to a casserole dish when we add the dumplings, and then finish it off in the oven. But I'm trying to set this up like so that I can go ahead and make the dumplings, add that right to it, and you know, roll like that. You know, a lot of people like crock pot recipes, so here's one for you to try. like I said, just going to give this a quick dice. And, you know, have it ready to go in there when the vegetables are ready. Like I said, I had that garlic cooking in there, and it was starting to get like a nice golden brown, the garlic was, in the butter and oil mixture, and it made a nice aroma in here. So now we got the vegetables in there, so we can get them, you know, going good. And I wanted the garlic a toasty brown because it's going to soften back up again and add some nice color into this dish, and it'll have great garlic flavor as well. But it's not going to be an overpowering strong garlic flavor. So it's whatever you like. If you want a stronger garlic flavor, you can withhold 1 of the tablespoons of garlic until you go to put the broth in there, and then add that in towards the end with the vegetables. However you want to do it, it's your choice. This was requested by Michaela, my nephew's girlfriend, and she asked me to do chicken and dumplings. And well, I grew up with chicken and biscuits. I never really grew up with chicken and dumplings. But the only difference between the dumplings and the biscuits are you make the biscuit recipe and you put it right on top, you know, and then cover it and cook it. And basically it just kind of steams the biscuits and makes dumplings. The only thing I can figure is somebody didn't have enough time and they decided to just do it that way, and that's how it came about. Honestly, I don't know. But, I mean, it makes sense to me that that's what you would do if you didn't have enough time to make biscuits. You can go ahead and stir that, kiddo. Being very patient watching it for me. It's got a little bit of a sizzle going on, like a frying pan on a, you know, like a lower temperature, which is in essence what this does. It cooks at a lower temperature, and but I've got it on the highest setting it'll take. So get it flattened out again and put the lid back on, kiddo. You're doing great. I'm just kind of pre-cooking the veggies. Get a little saute on them, so to speak, in the crock pot before I add the broth and then the cream to finish them off with. Good job. This is a little slower for him, so he doesn't have to feel like he's being rushed with the frying pan being on high. Little low and slow method for rendering your veggies, so to speak. Oh, careful. It's hot, kiddo.
Yeah, just nice.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely gets hot on the outside. So, I got 3 pieces of chicken cut up here, and I may have to add more liquid than I anticipate here, but we'll adjust on the fly for that one. It'll be no big deal. I'm going to scrape the chicken juice that's in this dish down here as well, and make sure that goes in there because that'll add a lot of flavor as well. Don't want to waste any of that flavor whatsoever. So we're just slicing this up here. And you know, you want like bite-sized pieces, and that's pretty much what I did for the chicken and the celery that's in there. You know, try to cut it in such a way that you can get a little bit of everything on your spoon all at once. Otherwise, if you cut bigger pieces, just get a bigger spoon and you can still do it if you got a big enough mouth. You know, however you want to do it. If you want to shred the chicken, you could shred it. You just have to pre-cook it long enough to be able to shred it. Or put it in whole and then pull it out after and shred it that way. That's another way you could do it. I'm trying to do, you know, least maintenance as possible, fairly quick. Like I said, if I had a little less time, I'd just be sauteing the vegetables in the skillet instead of doing it the way I'm doing it now. But I don't want to cook them too much. I want to get a lot of that flavor in there. And I could do that the other way as well, like I did with the chicken gnocchi recipe. You know, put it right in the stock pot like I did, and then you got to slow cook it on the stove, and by the time you add your dumplings, I really didn't have enough room to do that with this, so I decided to go with the crock pot and less liquid. And we'll see how it works out for me. Don't know until you try it. I can always readjust. You can see it's got, you know, it's not quite fully cooked, which is good because I'm putting it right into there. But you know, if I was going to eat this, obviously I'd cook it longer. But I did this in such a way that I would get flavor from the grill before I put it into the crock pot to finish cooking it here. And some of the smaller ones were cooked all the way. But I kind of, you know, just threw it on the grill, get a little color on it, cook it about halfway. You know, that's how I did it. Do it however you want. You know, this won't make anybody sick because it will finish cooking in the crock pot. And that was the whole idea of this. And that's why I'm going to use all of it in there. And it probably looks like a lot, but you want a nice hearty, you know, chicken and dumplings. You don't want to be fishing around trying to look for a piece of chicken like you do at the restaurants. You know, they try to make it to maximize their profits. Me, I'm trying to maximize flavor and, you know, fill you up. So I'm doing it this way. And not all the restaurants are like that. There are some that don't try to cheat you like that. But you can usually tell when you walk in. If it doesn't look like it's been remodeled, they're probably struggling. And they're probably putting as little as they can in there. They gotta worry about food costs sometimes. So I'm gonna finish cutting this up. We're gonna, you know, get these vegetables cooked down a little bit more and take a quick break here from the video while we're doing that. Like I said, you can always go a little faster if you want, but I'll see you when we come back in just a little bit here. Finish cutting up my chicken and get it in there. Okay, so I finished cutting up the chicken. We got all of it in this bowl right here. I've got 2 bouillon cubes. Each one's good for 8 ounces of, or I believe it's 6. Hold on, let me think here. 2 cups is 8 ounces. So I'm probably going to need more of those. And I got a little packet from ramen noodles. When we have ramen, sometimes we just cook 2 packages at once. I only use 1 seasoning packet usually when I do that. And I just set one aside. I use it for something here and there. So I'm going to put that in there as well. I think I'm going to need more of the bouillon when I go to do this. But right now I'm going to do the biscuits for the recipe here. And I'm only doing half an order of biscuits because I don't think we need that many dumplings for this. I think 1 will be enough, 1/2 of it. So what we're going to do is, I got a 1/2 cup measuring cup here. And I'm just kind of going in and I'm going to shake it out there. So there's 1/2 cup. And this is going to pack it a little bit more than normal, but that's alright because you can always adjust the liquid for the biscuits. And there's 1 full cup. So 1 full cup, and then we're going to do 2 tablespoons. And that'll give us half the biscuit we need for the recipe. 2 tablespoons. There we go. That's all we need for biscuit, and then we need some half and half or milk. Either one works. I've got a cup of half and half here, and that's for the broth of the biscuits, chicken and biscuits there. So I'm going to add that to the liquid, and I'll just add that all in at once when I go to do it. And I'm going to go ahead and measure out 1/3 of a cup. There we go, 1/3 of a cup of half and half. And that's going to go right into here. And that's all you need for the dumplings. I'm going to go ahead and get this mixed up here. Now I may need to add a little bit more, I may need to add a little bit less. I'm going to grab a spoon. Actually, you know what? There we go. Rubber scraper. That'll work. I'm just going to go ahead and get this mixed up here. How's that coming along, kiddo? I'm definitely going to need a little bit more liquid in this, I think. Seems a bit dry. But that's alright. Well, maybe not.
I'm seeing some more brown in this.
That's good.
lightly.
Alright, I'm going to go in with my hands for these biscuits here. I think it's got plenty of liquid, I just got to get it mixed. That's probably why it doesn't seem like it's in there. We got some sticky bits and some not so sticky bits here. So don't be afraid to get your fingers in it and work it. The more you work this, the tougher your dumplings will be. The less you work it, the more tender they'll be. So you just want to kind of incorporate everything and get it mixed up so it all comes together. Put a few more drops out of that third cup in here and mix it in. Kind of knead it a little in the bowl. Get it mixed in thoroughly, you know. Like I said, you want it to mix together, become cohesive, and get saturated. Make sure I get all this mixed in. That's looking pretty good to me. Like I said, I'm giving it a good mix. Do it however you want to mix it. You can do that. I think it needs a drizzle more of half and half. Probably just about a half a teaspoon. Right about there. Just a little bit more. Get this mixed in here. Touch on the dry side. I didn't want it quite so dry. You can leave that lid on there a little longer, kiddo. Let's get in there. We're almost ready to... We almost got the veggies softened just enough to add the liquid into them at this point. You can see it's not quite sticking all that much. That means you got the right consistency here. It's just dry enough that it's not sticking to you. And we'll roll this out into a log, so to speak, in a little bit here, and slice up some dumplings to put on there. See how I can work it and I'm not getting any on me? That's what you're looking for. Alright, we're going to let that rest. Rub all the little bits off. Alright, so at this point, I want to take my chicken juice. Go ahead and get the lid for me, Shiloh. I'm going to scrape my chicken juice in here. We're getting ready to put this together. And I only let this go another like 5-10 minutes or so, you know? Just long enough to sort of heat the veggies up and get some of the flavor worked in from each other. Go ahead and give that a stir for me. Put that in the sink for later. Give my counter here a quick wipe. And I already used those two smaller ones for the teaspoon, so I'm done with those. And I got some smoked paprika here I'm going to add in at this point. And I'm going to do half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. And that's going to help play off the smokiness from the grill and give it a nice little hue of sorts. Barely a twinge of red, but it'll still be in there. And while that's doing that, I got to double check my bouillon cubes here. Make sure I read this right. So one does 2 cups Okay, and 2 cups is 16 ounces. So 2 of these will do 32 ounces. So I did have enough. I wanted to make sure. I thought I was right, but yeah, that's fine, kiddo. I've been known to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. And then, like I said, I'm doing 2 of those and then a little extra. If you have the boxed chicken broth, you could do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and add in this small little pack and let him mix that in. There we go. And that was just, something from a chicken flavored ramen. Just going to add a little umami flavor for that. Because they know how to do it, the Chinese do. And going to go ahead and we got that mixed in good. We're going to go ahead and come in with our water and half here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's kind of soupy at the moment. It won't be so much in a little bit here. Now we're coming in with our chicken. There we go. And that is quite thick with flavor right there. Try not to splash, kiddo. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my bouillon cubes here and get them in. There's one. Here's another one coming at you. There we go. And those will mix right in nicely. And there were 2 different brands of bouillon, come to see from when I opened it there, but it does not matter. Bouillon is bouillon. So, what we want to do at this point is, here, can I mix a little? Yeah, I wanted to see how hot this was too, kiddo. You can tell by how hot the ceramic is. You can see there's quite a bit of, fluidity, there we go. That's what I was looking to say, fluidity. And it's, a bit liquidy, but you know what? I think the dumplings absorb some of that anyways, and you're going to get some of the flour from the dumplings mixing into it as well. So, at this point, I think our dumpling dough is rested enough. I want to kind of roll it out so I can make dumplings with it. Just kind of a good sized log. You want a few dumplings. Grab myself a knife. And we're just going to kind of slice. About 1/2 inch thick. Just like so. And these dumplings won't dry out because they're going to be sitting on this covered. And since we've got it all mixed as much as we need it to be, I'm going to take the 2 end pieces and kind of fuse them together here. And make a little dumpling as well. Kind of make it match. And we're just going to go ahead and drop these on top, like so. Leave a little space because they're probably going to expand out. And if they bury themselves in the liquid a little bit, it's alright. They will cook. And that should be enough dumplings. I probably could have doubled the batch there, made twice as many, but I didn't think I needed that many dumplings for this, so I didn't really make a lot. But when you go to make yours, if you want more dumplings in there, go ahead and make a full biscuit recipe, and you'll be okay. I'll probably do that in a little bit here, anyways, just to fill it in. But that's basically all there is to it. All you do is put the lid on it. I'm going to go ahead and reset this for 4 hours because I want this done in 4 hours. And we should be able to eat our dinner when it's done. And that's all there is to it. Make your own chicken and dumplings. Follow my recipe. Thanks for tuning in to Thai Food on YouTube. Check out my Facebook group, Thai Food. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget, when you subscribe on YouTube, to click the little bell icon. It'll notify you when I upload a new video. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.